if you have that at the national body, and that will enhance the discussion. And I go to Taufik now. In terms of standards, I know some work has been done in terms of having standard, even up to the level of defining some exams that people can get involved in. Do you see this contributing to the common voice in terms of having upfront in terms of the national project management development?
I'm not sure I got that question very well.
The question is, some work has been done and still in progress in terms of having standards developed. Okay, at a point we had this committee, which the interim committee chaired, and at a point we had working groups under the leadership of Engineer Joko Senimi, right?
Yeah.
So, do you see those standards as a foundation for the discussion on National Project Management Office?
Okay, so I think we need to separate the two right now. Project Management Office coming on board will be at the pleasure of government. Okay, I remember the first two conferences that we had under the platform of Promacon. It was strongly advocated. Okay, one thing I know about government is you can talk all you want. Government will do whatever they want. Okay, and we can only advise. They will do whatever they have interest in, just like several bills that got passed last what's it called now, legislative year. And so if there is interest of people in government. However, for what has been developed over time, I'll make bold to say to you that a lot of work had gone into it. We've sort of mapped out how we're going to incorporate PMI, project PMI's certification holders, graduates, undergraduates, Prince 2, practitioners and all that. So there's a foundation laid already that if we decide to go back that route, we can accelerate and gather a lot of momentum. That is for us as practitioners. But for conversation around National Project Management Office, just like Engineer Adiola said, for me, it's more of a political thing that I think that our major focus should be about how do we add value right now as project managers. How do we create research and development? How do we come up with data that validates other assumptions? Because right now, apart from the study that was carried out under Goodluck Jonathan, nobody can give us the value of abandoned projects. Okay? So I think it is from that end. We've seen a lot of work that is being done by budget, for example. So for me, I think what we should focus on is how to drive value as a people, as a group of project managers, so that we provide the alternative facts. Each time there's a conversation around projects, whether infrastructure, whether it is educational projects or any kind of projects, we should be the go-to people to go and find out information and validate information that relates to projects. Once we start adding that kind of value, and I must say to you that it's a lot of work, because a lot of us need to put in the sacrifices, just like PMI has done abroad, and it doesn't come cheap. Because when we decided to register Promacon Project Foundation, the whole idea is to have a research and development-based organization that will provide data to PMI locally, that will provide data to any PMP, that will provide data and information and do research about the state of projects and what needs to be done within the practice, to all stakeholders, not to be an association or evolve to be an institute. So it costs a lot of money to have, and a lot of time. And we need to volunteer our time if we're serious about developing the practice of project management in Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Please, let's put our hands together for him. And I go to Prof. In terms of creating value, where should be the starting point? In terms of creating value, where should be the starting point?
Thank you. In my place, they say, the voice of elders, the voice of wisdom. Engineer Adeola has spoken. It's not the issue of creating whatever kangaroo organization that matters. It is what we have. And some of us who brought out our time and energy all these years is just to see that something is put that we can call ours. And I'm sure that most of us who glance through this thing, PMI, how many people actually started PMI? If we read through, we know that it's not a government establishment. Few people came out and put draft, and it continues to move forward. My candid view, which I thought that was what we were heading towards initially, is that Promacon has established a base. I thought it would still serve as a secretariat. We start developing products. And until we have sellable products, before we can say we are. If it is just the fun of to create one thing, government we know is, I don't want to use certain words, but we know those who are in government. There are people like you and I who are looking for their daily bread. Give us this our daily bread. And they are not proactive. They are not looking towards the future. So my candid view is that Promacon has done a lot by creating that base. Can we enhance that base and use it as the foundation of creating subunits and start, if you say you are interested in construction projects, like most of us in PMI, we're members of specific interest groups. We start putting ourselves and start developing something. It is not something for 1 day or 2 days, because most of us rush into things because of the benefit we are going to get tomorrow. If we start thinking about tomorrow, what do I get tomorrow, then we're going nowhere. Of course, everybody knows that nobody is prepared to drop what he has for another person. I wonder our people sometime, I think it was 2012 election, when Atiku Abubakar came out, and people were saying presidency come to the south, and I won in my small way. Nobody who has that presidency will allow you to get it. You must fight and show why you should take it. And it's the mistake my own people are making. 2023 is ours. I said, mere stupidity. Nobody hands over the goal he has to you. You must create something to indicate you are capable and you are able. So I believe, let's use what we have as a platform. Good enough, the president of PMI in Nigeria is here. We can link up and create. So if we can use what we have tells and go and attend 2 hours meeting, I'll start coming back to work with all damn robbers on the road. That is impossible. I will not be part of you. But I think we do equally have some cluster of people we can stay within the Owerri zone, and until we start seeing how we fuse together. Because management is not a small thing. Simply I say, I buy the idea of Engineer Adeola is those wisdom something. It's not what going to create something and say government will have this. Government is government. Government would even borrow certificates who do not understand their left from their right. We know them. But let's put our house in order. It may be a long-term something. I may not be alive to see the fruitful development of this. Some of us were with, but the road would have been set for people to follow.
Thank you,
And
sir.
I think my brother here can still make Promacon office, or expand it, and part of making it functional is those of us who believe in it, they should be talking this, because now we are not talking all these things we are doing, we don't pay any. They should be talking, if it is an annual dues, of those who think they belong to project management, registration, so that that office can be funded, the information will be circulated.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ngozi Dowanko. I just want to give an example of how we can just start having an impact. In fact, I must congratulate you for building companies that are doing the project. Can we meet them? Can we just introduce ourselves to say, you do projects, they come and they make it into ourselves alone. We should start moving out, talking to people in terms of, there are a lot of projects that are awarded. At least around us here, let's meet them. Let's introduce ourselves and say, we're Nigerians and we're conscious of project management. Thank you.
Okay, so when I teach, people understand, thankfully, but there is a certain level, it's a certification to get as a means to an end. So we see a lot of students in class who just want to probably use the certification to get a job in Canada, or probably want to use it to get a new job. People do not necessarily understand what project management is, and I think that yet localized it. Like if you're talking to someone and you're talking about sushi, and the person is staying in a particular village in Nigeria, sushi may be good, but the person does not understand it because you have not brought it to maybe Apu or Amala. So I'm totally in agreement with what the PMI Nigeria president is talking about, which is about localizing people around us. And secondly, I also heard imagine if everybody comes together in different clusters and we're all working towards, well, if there's no existence of a strategic goal.
Passionately about forgetting about government and regulation and focusing on expanding clusters.
Everybody would have different goals.
Unifying body that speaks for project management, that problem will continue to arise. How do you advise we sort that out? Thank you.
Okay, in deciding this, comment or question? Comment or question? No, we need questions because we've had too many comments. Sayo, add one more person. I'm sorry.
Just one more question.
Who came from Niger? Somebody said he came from Niger. Okay, please, let me take him. Question?
Good afternoon. My name is Muhammad Tahir. To the panelists, please, I want to ask, what's the future of project management graduates in Nigeria? Like those who studied from maybe FUT Mina, Owerri, or Akure, what's their future? Because in like those of us that have graduated, when you go to any organization, they ask you, okay, is it at master's level or certificate? Because they always recognize people who have done it at certificates and masters or those other ones that have been bought. Yes, most of them, they buy it.
Okay, thank you.
And secondly, why are most Nigerian project management graduates unable to have access to Prince 2, APM, or PMI student membership? Because most people, after graduation, they just hang around who to contact, where to connect to get all those certification is not there. So I think this APM, PMI, and also the Prince 2, they should have linked to the universities. At least from the university, you should have access to them as student membership. You should know what all these things are all about. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Please, let's appreciate them. Okay, I think we're going to start with the last person and allow Taufik to respond to how do you, what is the future of PM graduates in Nigeria, and also how do young graduates get information in terms of acquiring additional certifications?
Thank you, Rex. The guys that studied project management technology or evolving project management technology in Futo, Futmina, and Owerri. Akure, yes. I've had the privilege of employing some of them. Is Loni in this room? Loni and Lillian. Okay, that's Loni, that's Lillian. I've had the privilege of having some of them pass through us at iCentra, and they have put in a lot of work studying project management for 4 or 5 years, some weekends, 4 days or 5 days. And sometimes I'm inclined to interrogate the content of the project management technology. Again, I find it very difficult to understand what technology is doing in project management. So from day one, when you say you are a graduate of project management and your degree is project management technology, it puts a ceiling on your career. However, I think we have not done enough for those kids. And I make bold to say that for people that have been in the practice for so long, we need to work with those organizations, PMI, Promacon, and every mentor. We need to help them streamline their curriculum so that when you spend 4 or 5 years as a graduate and you come out of the university, nobody should be questioning the veracity or your body of knowledge. Not someone like me, apart from studying, practicing project management, but I know that my first training in project management didn't last more than a week. So why should I subject somebody that spent 4 years or 5 years studying project management to another rigor? So they should come out being, the best in that field. So I think there has to be what I call a linkage between the town and the gown. So for a project management graduate or undergraduate, it should be the best of both worlds. That means having access to the best of project management education and also practical experience before they come out of university, so that when they come out as graduates, nobody should subject them to either Prince 2 certification or PMP before they get the job done, because they would have known how to implement a project, actually. Just like a doctor, nobody needs to subject a doctor to that kind of rigor. The only thing you need to do is just do your housemanship. So I think there has to be a connection between the industry and the academics, and also to interrogate the content of what is learned as project management at undergraduate level, so that these young men won't have to suffer the amount of discrimination that they are suffering right now between people that have been certified and them that has done undergraduate studies at for project management.
Thank you. Yes, you can appreciate him. Go ahead. Okay, I'll come back to Dr. Lambert, but Prof, from academic point of view.
Okay. First, there are comments that are made out of ignorance. So many people, when you say you start project management, they don't even know what project management isn't been at NUC level. What that means. I've been the director of academics of my university for some years. People don't understand what you mean. People prepare the old idea. People prepare in those days, you say you studied biology. If you say you are studying molecular biology, somebody will start saying, what is molecular biology? People prefer to say, I'm studying chemistry. You say about biochemistry and the allied, the people don't understand. It is ignorance and not wanting to know, first and foremost. But that said, yes, for those of us in the academics, we realize the need to interface the gown and the town, and it's always stretched. But the issue is that if you rush for these 2 weeks something, it is hands-on. You just come, somebody teaches you how to do this. A undergraduate person finishing is getting what we call the broad education. You are not just supposed to be plugged into one particular something. I've never seen anybody, if you do medicine, medicine is the general degree at first level. You want to specialize, you start thinking about something, but you have the fundamental. At the university you are studying, remember the founding fathers of those universities of technology, because we have that problem up till now. The founding fathers knew that technological management is totally different from general management. If you are doing like home video, it's a project, but it's not the same concept as if you are handling a manufacturing system. And that's why the program in the federal universities are 5 years, because the 100 level is devoted to pure engineering and sciences. So that when somebody starts talking, you appreciate engineering and all this, and understand the main scope and everything. If we don't fully appreciate those things, and somebody and he cram one verse and hits the tablet, you say he's a professional. That's why somebody like me, when you come and tell me you are PMP, I look at you 10 times. I have to ask certain questions to know what. Many people have come to me, even those are so-called colleagues who manufacture something from Ghana. Come and we'll be a representative here. But when you see the product they are selling, and I always refer back to Engineer Adiola, let's see the product we are selling.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Please, let's appreciate him. Let's appreciate him. And there's this question about how can you advocate for standard practices without having a common front? And Dr. Lambert, can you just respond to that? Then we'll come to.
What about the question?
The question is that, right? I hope I got it right. Abubakar, that
Not impressed on anything if you don't have a common body. I understand it doesn't matter, but are you on the ground when it comes?
Thank you. So I'm standing with the real owner of the question.
no.
Thank you, sir. I think Prof has answered it. My question was, we talk about clusters and everyone coming together to synergize to come up with something, but don't we think we should start from the basic, which is having a vision, which is something we've talked about today, having a vision. And then when we have a vision from there, we can now maybe break into our various clusters.
Okay, I think that has been answered. This is the vision, and you have to key into it. Okay.
What?
Yes.
No, she gave an advice.
No. He has a question.
Oh. Okay, he asked the question.
Yes.
The quacks. He said his VP membership.
Also, my question was about how to address quacks who issue certificates that are not valid, people who have fake PMP certificates that they issue. People go to NYSC, someone goes to you, speaks to you for 1 hour, tells you he's giving you a PMP certificate and things like that. I'm saying without regulatory authority and a body that looks at that, we'll continue having those organizations that give those kinds of certificates spring up. So that's my argument for why we really need some kind of government authority to be able to say, you can't do things like this. Because at the end of the day, these people will carry these quack certificates and then go ahead and say they are project managers, and it's project management as a profession that gets a bad name in the end?
I think you have answered yourself. Project manager, specialist. Let's even remember that by just graduating, there are steps of growth. You don't become a consultant in a hospital just because you have graduated. There are stages you have to move. For those of us who say we are professors, you do not just climb from notebook and answer professor. There are stages. But we are saying that if we can organize ourselves and start speaking with one voice, then like Engineer Adeola said, there are something we are producing. We can use to assess ourselves and say this is right. You cannot go to the market and chase anybody who is selling any product because you don't have the instrument to chase that person.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Dr. Lambert, in 1 second.
Okay, let me quickly add something to my friend from Niger State, the person that studied project management at undergraduate. I dealt with one of these cases with somebody that worked with me before his youth service. He studied in Futo. When I assessed him, I found out that all what we have been saying here is the same. So what I did was, that you will still be wanting. So that's it. The idea of going through the schools, like Prof said, a long process. I've been part of trying to establish project management curriculum with Yabatech. We worked on that project. The new, in short, it didn't get to anywhere apart from the committee that was formed. So
thank you.
So that's it.
Thank you. Now, we're rounding up, and in 30 seconds, your parting word, Taufik, starting with you now. But you want to make a comment? No, in that order, we're coming this way now. Just in 1 minute.
My parting shot would be change does not happen overnight. The kind that we want to see, we need to drive it. We need to be ready to work and commit our time as project managers if we're really passionate about this practice and if this is what we want to do, that some of us are actually doing. We need to reassess what we have done in the last 10 years and redouble our efforts. And just like the theme of today's event is, accelerate conversation, not just conversation, to the next level, action. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Chonubi, 1 minute.
Thanks. So I wanted to actually respond to the lady's comment before we went to the wrap-up. The lady in green who was talking about having people unaware of what project management is. And I just wanted to read, because it has come back to the beginning of at the beginning, which is we need to engage with. It's only in these other associations that we can now distill and pass on what value it can bring to the different aspects, sectors in the economy. So my parting shot is